Everybody, this is Perch. We got a question about character popularity. So character popularity is a fun one because it's always kind of interesting to speculate on when some characters, like Spider-Man, say, maintain their popularity pretty consistently through the decades. Certainly some up and downs, but there's definitely a core there. And others tend to, definitely have lapses. I think Ghost Rider is an example there, where there was some popularity and a lot of none, and then there was a revival, and then overused, and then now a little bit of the heat is back on Ghost Rider. It's interesting how it works. One theory I have, and I think we're seeing it play out now, is that if you act upon that popularity without restraint, meaning you take this character and there's a brief bit of popularity, and immediately like have 5 series all spin outing with this just one character. You introduce a bunch of multi-universal versions of it. You start doing all that kind of stuff. It kills it fast. I think that was absolutely the case with Deadpool. I think actually we're kind of seeing that right now with Ghost Rider, where there got to be some interest in Ghost Rider, and they cannot help themselves. It's like, hey, what about here? Well, let's do a cosmic Ghost Rider. Let's get the whole Ghost Rider family back in again, and let's it's a lot. That's all I'm saying. And we've got the multi-universal Avengers, and we have a Ghost Rider doing that. And it's like it gets to be a lot. But anyway, let's go through this question we got here. It says, "Hey Perch, hope you're doing well. My question: how do Marvel and DC comics tell which characters are actually popular with readers? Sometimes it's pretty obvious. It can tell when characters like Wolverine, Deadpool, Harley Quinn, and others catch fire with readers and the general public. But what about characters they want to be popular? For example, Punchline, Carol Danvers, when Marvel was heavily pushing her, and for several years, the Iraqi mutant Solemn, and recently Kang the Conqueror. For me, Solemn's the biggest one, because he was marketed as Wolverine's next big nemesis, but he barely did anything in Ten of Swords, and Marvel writers did next to nothing with him for a year. Did they accidentally waste the character, or did they pick up on some signs that showed he wasn't accepted by readers and decided to quit while they were ahead? It's not that one. How do comic publishers determine when a character is actually popular with readers and not just by Twitter users and media outlets looking to shill? I imagine recurring high comic sales would play a part, but it feels like there's more to it than that. Would love your input on this subject, since the big two are always pushing characters, new and old, as the next big thing almost every year, and it grinds my gears, nice, when they do so at the expense of the rest of the characters they already have. Thank you. Take care and have a good day." So, yes, it can be by sales, but it's rarely by sales. Meaning, in many cases, the writer, the editors, people who are doing the pitch, they don't even necessarily know the sales or are given the sales, and it's very anecdotal when they are. It tends to be things like, "Oh, this comic's doing really well on digital," is the statement, and really well means 12% of physical sales instead of 8%, and that means they sold 2,000 copies instead of 1,500 copies. I mean, it's like the basis of what really well is a pretty moving target. And that's been a challenge with comics and popularity for a while, and assessing who's actually popular and what people actually care about. But there is the other aspect to this is they forget. So unfortunately, the marketing machine has gotten so comfortable and familiar with the idea of saying it's the next big thing. Here's this character, jump on board now, jumping on point. These kind of phrases that they throw out, that they use them somewhat indiscriminately, where they don't even necessarily think about what it is they're saying. They just almost vomit out these slogans and expect that the readers are going to go for it. And that's been pretty much the case. I think Solemn is like, we're setting up Wolverine's arch nemesis. That was Ben Percy's idea, but he had a lot of ideas, and Wolverine appears a lot of places, and they went into Hickman leaving, and then you had the Death of Wolverine, Lives of Wolverine, everything else, and so he wasn't the next big arch nemesis. And it wasn't because somebody did a focus group and tested to see if the character took off when he first debuted. It was more just like the writer claimed that, and didn't necessarily have a concrete follow-up idea, and the comics just kind of drifted onward. I think Solemn was a character that probably could have been fairly popular. I think that the elements were there to have kind of a sadistic, big threat to Wolverine. God knows they've either killed him off or they're all pals on Krakoa now. So what are they going to do there? But it was a weird. It was strange to see them go from we're going to have this arch nemesis Solemn to hey, here's Omega Red. Omega Red's doing stuff again. That was just odd. Some part of me, and I really do believe that some of what we're seeing in the X-Men comics, where Russia is now interfering with Krakoa and trying to screw with it, is a result of the writers in the X-Slack having a very vague idea of what Russia does. And they got one too many stories on CNN about Russian collusion, and they're like, I know what we'll do. We'll have the Russians infiltrate Krakoa and start spreading misinformation. Like, I wish I was joking, but I would be really willing to bet that's exactly how we got to where we got. But anyway, I put that aside. No, I mean, in some cases it's hopeful. Like with Carol Danvers, there was hope that she'd really take off, and then I think the publisher got a little desperate with it, or at least anxious, and then started saying, "No, she is popular. Damn it, she is. We told you she was popular, and damn it, she's popular." I think you got a little bit of that going on. I think that eventually the comic companies cut bait to some extent when it's just clear it's not selling. And then the excuse is always the same. It's never an admission that maybe they did the wrong thing. It's, well, we gave readers so much of what they were asking for that we kind of overwhelmed them. So we're going to put this character back on the shelf for a little bit and let the fires kindle a little bit. And, then it will be back again. And I wish I was joking with that too, but I've been told that directly. I mean, this has been something, not just me. I mean, you've seen this in interviews where they've actually said, in response to, hey, why is it that you had like 4 separate Deadpool ongoings happening at the same time? You had Lady Deadpool. I keep saying Daredevil, but there's Lady Daredevil too, for that matter. But a Lady Deadpool and a dog Deadpool and a baby Deadpool. Do you think you might have overexposed the character? No, we didn't overexpose it. We gave the readers too much of what they were asking for. We gave them so much of what they were asking for, they were so happy they stopped buying the comics. It's like, that's honestly, that's been an excuse. I've heard Marvel turn around and say, we are so responsive to our customers. We're so in tune with our customers that we don't just give them some of what they want. We give them, if anything, we give them too much of what they want. We should give them less of what they want. Anyway, if you've ever sat in a room and had somebody tell you this with a straight face, it's quite a feat. Sit there and like, what is this guy talking about? Anyway, common stuff. So I think that unfortunately, there's not a good gauge. Bluntly, there's just not a good gauge for how this stuff works, and I wish there was. And the comic industry would be in a better place if there was. But right now, it's pretty much a seat by the pants operation, and in a lot of cases, the writers, when you see things cool off like Solemn, it's not because they decided he wasn't popular. In fact, I think Solemn was actually one of the things that people cite as a net positive coming out of Ten of Swords, which was a pretty abysmal event. By the way, next time somebody tells you, no, Ten of Swords is actually super popular, I've had people again say that Ten of Swords had the highest sales for an X event in decades, which is just flatly not true. Not even anywhere close to true. That is a bald-faced lie. And it is, one good indication of that is, look at the fan reaction, what people were clamoring for. Even on Twitter, where it's you've got a home audience there cheering you on, there was people did not care. Like the follow-up to some of this stuff, like, nah, don't care. Like, ooh, could we get some comics delving into the backstory of Araku? Can we get like an Araku, mini series that could really get into how some of this? Nope, nobody asked for it. They didn't deliver it. And remember, this is the house of ideas that will pimp the hell out of everything. Like, if they think there's $1 to be made off of a spinoff or a tie-in or anything, they will go get that dollar instantly. They will go get that dollar. Captain Carter is showing up in a What If episode. Do a limited series right now. Do it. Pay McKelvey, big bucks, extra dollars is a name to get in on that. Like, they will chase any dollar they think they can chase. So if you ever see something where there's no new, like they introduce a big thing and they hype it up as we did a great thing and this is huge and everything else, but you see no follow-up issues, then they will yeah, it wasn't popular. It did not work. I'm sorry, it did not. But in a lot of cases, if you're talking about specific characters, it's just people don't have the plans, people aren't thinking it through. It's just, that's the case with Solemn. It was just a case of somebody probably should have done something and they didn't. So anyway, that's where it's at. Anyway, thank you very much for the question. Curious what the take is of the other viewers, so please let me know in the comments below. Always interested in hearing your thoughts, and thanks for listening.